What's cracking, people? It's your man Cousin T, aka the Alpha Wingman, representing high-level technicians operating globally and beyond. So listen, today I wanted to respond to a Patreon question that was presented the other day, and shout out to the Patreon guys. If you want to have a unique and interesting question answered, I will definitely respond to my patrons before anybody else. So salute to the hot house over there. But let's get into this particular Patreon question. And he says this: man, you have to do a review / breakdown on this Blu Jasmine chick. Gets her man to pay her rent and they are not together. Your last one on the other Jasmine was informative, especially when you broke down that she was talking about two different dudes. Well, DC, here we go. Now, as a reference to the video that he spoke of in that post, I'm going to link the video review of Jasmine G down in the description just so you can use that as a reference. But basically in that video I broke down, as I do normally, what my overall rating of her is, and that includes the Octane level. Shout out to Master Teacher BGS for the Octane model, where she ranks on the female group hierarchy, and ultimately her SMV as I see it. And for Jasmine G, her overall ranking was 87B, which is bottom mistress -8. And I won't wait until the end of this video to give Blu Jasmine a rating. I'm going to do that right now. So right off the bat, we see that Blu Jasmine is indeed a diesel, aka in the seduction industry, in the sex worker space. So shout out to her for that. Got nothing but love for fellow seducers in the industry. As you know, that's my background. So nothing to be taken away from that. In terms of her profile and observing how she interacts with other women, and if she keeps other women in her circle, so that there is an observable hierarchy or female group hierarchy. She does not have any sort of structure like that. So that leaves me to give her the outlier designation. I may update that and put the renegade as a special designation for diesel types, but we'll see. Stay tuned for that. In any case, so we got the diesel outlier. Last is her SMV ranking. In my opinion, this is her without makeup. Just wanted to give you gentlemen a little time to make your own observations and just get an overall view for this. My overall assessment would be a 6. So at the end of the day, the overall rating for Blu Jasmine is the diesel outlier with an SMV of 6. Okay, so let's get to the main focus of why I believe the Patreon subscriber wanted to have an assessment or an overall observation of this figure, this public figure. And we have to start with the 8 at the table clip that started this whole sort of, whirlwind. And since then, she's done a lot of interviews with podcasts on the mainstream circuit, including once Manosphere standout and now mainstream podcaster Kevin Samuels. There are a lot of interesting takeaways from that particular interview, but I want to focus on the viral moment that really gave observers and content creators a lot to unpack, and that is when she mentioned that she had an ex pay for her loft and Mercedes-Benz. And basically what the idea behind that particular soundbite was that there's a certain caliber of woman who can command material goods from an ex-boyfriend or ex-lover or ex-whomever without even being married and or divorced. And the reason why I believe a lot of observers and content creators take offense or support this position is because it speaks to a new type of social contract, and it's something that a lot of people are attempting to weave into the social fabric, and obviously and rightfully so, I believe people are pushing back on this. People are trying to deconstruct this and trying to figure out where this mentality even comes from. But I think that here in the Manosphere, and in particular the Black Manosphere, we have observed this phenomena. We've observed this behavior. And again, shout out to the Master Teacher BGS, IBMOR, for the Octane model and the entire Octane series, because we broke down this mentality. And I'm going to link the video below that I did on the diesels. And basically, the mentality and attitude of a female diesel in particular is that of a predator. And when I say predator, I mean that women at this stature or this status see men as food. And basically, it plays out on repeat. It's been playing out on repeat throughout the variety of interviews that Blu Jasmine has been, taken on with various podcasters. Basically, this is a diesel mentality, and what people don't get is that this is unattainable for the average woman. Outside of the seduction space, outside of the sex worker space, outside of the mental influence, the manipulation that happens in the sensual arena of the diesel, most women do not have the ability to parlay their feminine essence in a way that becomes a sort of leverage that a woman in her position can use to get resources, to get access, to get favors from the type of men who have those resources, who have those connections, who have the certain status to provide this woman in a way that won't break him, and in a way that she is able to maintain a certain position. And I'm using my words carefully. I want to say position because this brings me to the second point that she mentions in a lot of the interviews, which I have to say, the more interviews she's doing, she's becoming more refined in how she promotes and projects this particular talking point. But one word that comes up a lot is lifestyle. Even though we were no longer intimate and we were no longer officially in a relationship, my expectation was that he maintained my lifestyle. And when it boils down to just a loft and a bins, we have to be careful when we call that a lifestyle. Those are status symbols, and there's a very big difference between lifestyle elements and true lifestyles. And that's actually a video that I'm going to do next. I'm putting this graphic up here just to strike a contrast between those who are of a certain lifestyle, meaning a certain class of citizen, and those who have lifestyle elements. You could be a high earning 87 or 89 octane and purchase these sort of status symbols or lifestyle elements as you see in the picture below, but that doesn't qualify you necessarily to be in the lifestyle category of a 92 octane, of that 100 octane MTU. But we'll get into that in another video. But getting back to this one, the last thing that I want to leave off on is that we cannot forget, and I highly recommend that people view or review the video that I did about diesel females, because when we look at the predatory nature and the go get it and the men are food mentality of the diesel, we have to remember the lengths and understand the lengths that a female diesel will go in order to get what she wants, and that is resources, that is status, that is access. And no other case study can typify this than that of Cardi B. Obviously, she's been in the media for years admitting to negotiating a deal in exchange for sensual access for money, and then once getting the guy back to his place or a hotel, doping them and robbing them, so that the guys, when they came to, They don't remember what happened, but they do know that they don't have a wallet. They do know that they don't have that watch. They do know that they've been taken for what they had in that moment. There's even been a movie made about it, which is interesting. But getting back to the original point of discussion, when we look at this particular case study, we have to keep all of these things in mind because, and like I said, I'll get into this further in the next video, the end game for someone in this position, in particular a female diesel in the modern space, is to get as much as she can out of life as quickly as she can. And her number one focus and her number one sort of reason for that, she's already explained it in her interviews, is her son. Now, if you go back to the original video that I did on the female diesel, I always say that female diesels in particular have no love for anyone but one particular person in their life, be it a parent that they're taking care of, be it a child that they're taking care of, be it a friend who was always there when no one else was there when they were taken care of. And they zero in their focus, they zero in their motivation to go get it on this one person, so that they have a bit of innocence that they can protect in this mad, cold, and often ugly world. And lastly, I just want to say this. Shout out to, again, BGS IBMOR with the phrase age of the diesel. I think that we're entering, or we've already entered, a space where there's going to be a great fracture between women and people in general who are able to leverage a fantasy to exist in a lifestyle space, as opposed to people who are leveraging central access just to get a fix and just to survive. And that's going to be an interesting point of observation and conversation going forward. So I just want to leave you with that note. Select men, pre-select men, non-select men. Like, comment, share, and subscribe. And as always, this is your man Cousin T, aka the Alpha Wingman, saying, stay sharp and mission focused. Later.